So the Las Vegas Raiders are back in the quarterback market again. It appears as though the possibility of seeing a Daniel Jones in a Las Vegas Raiders uniform is heating up when Coach Antonio Pierce did not rule it out when he was asked about it in his presser today as to whether or not the Raiders would pull Daniel Jones off waivers once he clears later today, actually here in a couple of hours. We're going to jump into that and more on today's episode of the Raider D Podcast live stream with all of you right now. First and foremost, get those comments in down below and let me know where are you guys checking in from. Love to see the Raider Nation from all over the world. We got people from checking in from Japan. We got people checking in from Australia, Britain, all over the United States, Canada, Mexico. Check in the comments below and let me know where are you guys viewing the live stream from today. And then also let me know how are you guys feeling about the quarterback situation with the Las Vegas Raiders in regards to possibly going out and signing Daniel Jones off of the waivers. Are you for it? Are you against it? Well, if you've seen my video earlier this past week, when Daniel Jones on Friday, when he was released from the New York Giants, there was a lot of talk about the Las Vegas Raiders going out and getting a Daniel Jones off of waivers today. And in my video, I said point blank that I am 100% against getting Daniel Jones to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders do not need a backup quarterback. We already have multiple of those on the team right now. The Las Vegas Raiders, what we need is a franchise quarterback. And yes, I know. 6 years ago, Daniel Jones was a first-round quarterback, 6th overall to the New York Giants. And he has not done anything since he's been there. They did win a playoff game with him. I understand that. But he has just regressed and regressed and regressed. And so I am against it. Yeah, Kevin. So by the end of the day, we're going to know if Daniel Jones is going to be wearing a silver and black uniform. Because he should clear waivers today, I think for right in like the next half hour. So we may end up with breaking news on this channel that the Raiders have picked him up off waivers. I don't like it. I don't want it. I think it's an unnecessary distraction. I don't think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback at all. Not at all. So I say no. What say you, Raider Nation? Drop your comment down below. How do you feel about the Raiders possibly going and signing Daniel Jones today due to the fact that Antonio Pierce left that door open during his presser earlier this morning? Scott says, no Jones, I am from Oregon. Nice. So I'm sure if you're from Oregon, you probably follow Oregon collegiate football. What do you think about Dillon Gabriel if you follow him or have been watching him this season at all? Because I'll tell you what, I didn't think Bo Nix was a first-round draft pick. I thought he had potential, and I thought that if he could put together more deep passes in the NFL, that Bo Nix could be a good quarterback in the NFL. But I didn't think that he was a 12th overall pick. I'm glad the Raiders got Brock Bowers. But boy, when you look at what Bo Nix has done over the past 3 or 4 games, he is really showing that he might be a problem in the AFC West for quite a few years to come. And with that being said, you basically have a clone of Bo Nix, though shorter, in Dillon Gabriel out of Oregon. Maybe something for the Raiders to look at because Dillon Gabriel unlikely goes that high in the draft because of his height. Raider, hi, salute, man. How you doing? Let's roll with AOC. He earned the opportunity. AP screwed up once this position by going with Minshew. Yeah, but the problem with that is, and here's again, this is my issue with Antonio Pierce and why I don't think he should remain the coach. He had this indecision about who the quarterback was going to be all the way until the last week of the preseason. And so neither AOC or Gardner Minshew was getting the full-time starting reps. And so Gardner Minshew came out half-cocked. And that hurt him. And then 4 or 5 games in, then you want to throw in AOC half-cocked again. And that hurt him. And then you throw in Desmond Ridder twice now at the end of a game. That hurts him. And now it's like, okay, we got AOC and we got Desmond Ridder. AOC's coming off IR tomorrow. He has thrown the ball in practice lightly, but as what Antonio Pierce said, they won't even have any practices, just walkthroughs. I wonder why we keep losing. We're not even practicing. How many times have you guys watched the pressers this year and seen Antonio Pierce say, oh, we're not going to practice this week? What happened to practices, man? Is it any wonder why we keep making so many mistakes? Practice makes perfect. And he seems like he's the most lackadaisical coach in the NFL when it comes to practice. So now we're not going to practice this week, and he's not going to make a decision on who the quarterback's going to be, Desmond Ridder or AOC. To me, that sounds like a problem. That sounds like a real big problem. Because what's going to happen is, he said, yesterday, if you guys remember, Antonio Pierce said that we'll have to make this decision real quick because we have a short week. And then today he's like, well, we'll have to see how this week goes before we make the decision. So what you're saying is, you're not going to practice, and you're not going to give Desmond Ridder the first team reps, because you're going to wait the entire week to see if Aiden O'Connell's hand is good enough to throw against KC. You're setting both quarterbacks up for failure. Listen, if you don't think that if AOC on Monday, if his hand is not 100%, it's his throwing hand, you go with Desmond Ridder. Listen, we've got nothing to lose. We're not making the playoffs here. But you got to protect the team. And you got to show competence as a head coach. And that, my friends, is not happening when it comes to Antonio Pierce. I do agree with you, Raider Hill. Or hi, I think that I'd like to see AOC get back in there and finish out a season as the full-time starter and just see what kind of promise this kid has. At the same time, I think Desmond Ridder should be starting against KC. 100%. Because AOC's hand's not 100% and you're on a short week. So by telling these guys that, oh, well, I'm not going to make a decision on which one's going to start, you're setting the person up for failure. And this is the problem with Antonio Pierce. There's been so mismanagement of player personnel, and I don't care what excuses we give him, because I've given him the same excuses. And that being that maybe it's Tom Telesco. Maybe Telesco's putting the pressure on him. I'm sure Telesco did when it came to Gardner Minshew. But who's putting the pressure now? And if you're caving into pressure from a GM, you don't need to be a head coach in the NFL. Straight up. You've got to make those decisions, and you got to make them now. So as far as Daniel Jones goes and him getting signed to the Raiders, possibly by the end of today, Darian says, no, thank you. I got to agree. I think it would just be a dumb move by the Raiders. It'd be a dumb waste of cap space. We don't need him. We don't need him. We have 3 quarterbacks on the team right now. Carter Bradley, AOC, Desmond Ridder. Why do you need a Daniel Jones? He's not good. He's not good. He is a bust. He is a certifiable bust. And you could say like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. No. You can't compare those guys because Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield never got a full shot to be the starting quarterback year over year over year. Daniel Jones has been in New York for 6 years. He has had 6 years in the same team to prove that he can be good, and he hasn't done it. Whereas Baker Mayfield got quit on by his team too early. Sam Darnold got quit on by the Jets too early. And then they bounced around, right? They finally found a home, and now they're playing pretty decent football. Kevin says, you don't fake punt if you're tanking. AP is sounding like his job is secure. He smiles too much. It's odd. He does smile a lot for a guy that's 2-9. But I know that he was also upset that we threw the ball 56 times yesterday. Well, what did you expect when you bring in Norv Turner? Norv Turner's offense is throw. And you know what? He can blame it on the offensive coordinator. And again, this was another shot over the bow at one of his assistant coaches. He threw Scott Turner and Norv Turner under the bus in today's presser by complaining about us throwing over 50 times. And again, this is why I say he may feel like his job is secure or he knows it's over. And he's just the type of dude that's like, you know what? I didn't belong here anyway. I didn't do anything to earn this job. I'm unqualified for this job. And I just got over. I got to be a head coach for a year and a half in the NFL. That's on my resume. I'm a Super Bowl champ. I'm a team captain of a Super Bowl team. And I was a head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders for a year and a half. Maybe that's why Antonio Pierce is smiling, despite the fact that we're 2-9. Or maybe he does have security. Maybe Mark Davis went to him and said, no, we really believe in you. And you're definitely not going anywhere next year. I don't know, man. I don't know. To me, it just seems like lack of accountability and a lack of control over player personnel and game management. It just seems odd. You know, and here's the other thing. Like we say, well, you know, you're not tanking when you do a fake punt. Remember where that fake punt was and when it was. Okay? We should not have done a fake punt there. That could have went horribly wrong. Still early in the game, and we were on the other side of the 50, our own side of the 50, far away from being in the red zone. We fumble the ball there, or don't pick up the first down. It's an incomplete pass. Broncos get the ball 35 yards away from a touchdown. So maybe you are tanking by doing a fake punt early in the game, so deep backed up in your own side of the field that you're actually hoping that's going to go bad to make another easy score for Denver. I don't know. Tinfoil hat, maybe? I don't know. Maybe. Let's get into some of these other comments, guys. Guys, check in. Let me know where you guys are listening or viewing or both this stream right now. Love to see the check-ins and where you guys are tuning in from. Raider Nation, we are global. Kingo says, honest answer, if AP doesn't get fired, is going to be the same crap show, LOL. Yeah. At this point, I don't see Antonio Pierce exhibiting head coach type decision making and behavior. I just don't see it. There are some fantastic head coaches out there who may have some losing seasons. But you can tell, even though they may have that losing season or they didn't make a playoff, you can tell that they're in control of the game. They're in control of the team. They have everything running. They maybe just have some injury issues. Whereas with Antonio Pierce, man, it just seems like he's not in charge of anything. He's kind of just a spectator, and then he just complains when we lose. You know, he's smoking the cigars when we're winning, but he does an awful lot of complaining when we're losing and really kind of pointing fingers. That's kind of what I'm seeing out of him right now. And it's pretty sad to see because I had high hopes for Antonio Pierce. Jay Harris says, laughing faces, you think AP thinks that of himself? I do. It's a possibility. I'm not saying that is what he's saying. I'm just saying maybe that's a possibility of what's going on. Maybe that explains the smiles on his face when we're 2-9 and he's on the hot seat to get fired. James says, Sincere McCormick looked good, over averaging 6 yards a carry. Not only did Sincere McCormick look good, but also our offensive line looked a lot better yesterday in both pass protection for the most part, as well as opening up holes for the run. And remember, we're going up against a top 5 defense, and in many categories, they were top 2, 3, 1 in defense yesterday. I mean, Denver's defense has been rolling on all cylinders, and we were able to move the ball fairly effectively for the most part. Now, guys, I do want to say this, man. A lot of people have commented on my hat here, which I picked up in Vegas. And I think it's only available on the Raider Image. Maybe they have it online, but I know it's in the store. It's like $75. But you can probably get on Raider Image for a little bit cheaper. However, if you just click right, let me see, where's it at? Somewhere down here. You see the little shopping bag. So I think it's going to be over here. Yeah. So it's going to be over here. If you click on the shopping bag, which is right below the heart, we have just picked up a partner on our YouTube store. And you can get all of your Raiders hats off of our store. And they're running a sale right now. So if you guys want to get some hats, man, go and check it out. Now, we don't have this exact one. This one's hard to get. It's very rare. But we do have the Blackout Raiders hat. It doesn't have the Spider-Man webbing on it, but it does have the blackout patch and all black hat. It's the first one when you open up the little shopping bag down in, which will be in your bottom right-hand corner. Because everybody keeps asking me, Raider D, where'd you get that hat, man? That hat is sick. Where do I find that? Well, you got to go to Vegas to get it. I've tried finding it on Raider Image, this exact one. I haven't been able to find it. They do have it in Vegas at the physical location. But if you want the next best thing, again, these are all NFL licensed hats. And great coordination that we got going down there in our Raider D podcast store now, so that you guys can rock the hats as well. Let's see what Scott says here. Scott says, it said O'Connell will get the start on Friday. Who said that? He says it said. Because what Antonio Pierce said in his press conference today did not confirm that. He said that he'll have to wait till the end of or throughout the week to see how Aiden O'Connell is. Remember, Aiden O'Connell doesn't even come off IR until tomorrow. Nazo says you got to have a coach who wants to be here, as well as, depending on who you target in the draft, dictates whether success comes from that player. So I'm not sure it's going to be as easy as everyone says. Nothing when it comes to the NFL is going to be easy. Nothing at all. I do say this, though, that you have Tom Brady as a part owner of the Raiders. He's a big draw, especially when you're trying to get a coach, you're trying to get free agents, etc. He is a big draw. And if you're trying to get a stellar head coach, again, I think Ben Johnson will be that guy. Having Tom Brady on the ownership and the hiring committee, that's going to go a long way. The second thing that's going to go a long way in getting that coach is having a number 1 or a number 2 overall draft pick. Straight up. You know, and here could even be the thing. It could be very well that Mark Davis goes to Antonio Pierce and says, listen, I don't think you're ready. I think this was a mistake. Make sure we lose the rest of the season, and I'll keep you on staff. I'm not going to fire you. I'm just going to demote you. Right? We're gonna drop you back down to an assistant defensive coordinator, like maybe linebackers coach again. So you're still gonna have your job, you're still gonna have your house in Vegas, you're not gonna have to move. I know you got some financial issues and all that stuff going on. We're not gonna do you dirty, but you're not ready to be a head coach yet. So we're gonna keep you on staff and let you keep working with the linebackers. But we're gonna bump you down, and we're gonna bring in a new head coach. Okay, so that could be a reason why Antonio Pierce is like, man, no matter what, I still got a job next year. I'm still getting paid, and I'm still coaching in the NFL. No problem. And you go and you get a Ben Johnson, and the big draw there is, again, he's gonna have his franchise quarterback because we're gonna draft one in the draft. Whether it's Shedeur, Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, Rourke, Dart, whoever the Raiders end up drafting. I will say this, Jalen Milroe, he was kind of rising up on my boards, but now he just took a nosedive off after losing to Oklahoma the way he did. He had no answers. James Furpo, what's going on, man? Salute to you, bro. Break over later, Raiders, Raider Nation for life. Raiders. Well, have a great day, James, out there at work. Appreciate you being here, as always. Jay Harris says, that's a sweet hat. I remember back in the 80s and 90s, we had the blackout, our A's and Raiders hats with a Sharpie. Yeah, it is. This is my favorite hat. I mean, I have a few different ones, but I only have 2 that I really rock, because these are my 2 favorite ones. One that says Raiders Across, and then my all blackout Spider-Man web hat here. But again, guys, if you want to get it, just hit that shopping cart down below, and we got all the hats in there, all NFL certified. It's all real deal, and their prices are really, really good. I mean, you can get this hat without the spider web. Webbing, the blackout, new era, only $35. Crazy good deal. I paid $75 in Vegas for mine. But again, I haven't been able to find this hat on the internet. I've only been able to find it at the Raider Image, right there at the stadium. Well, actually, it wasn't that Raider Image. There's a Raider Image that's at the stadium, and then there's another Raider Image at the hotel. Which hotel was that? I think it was Luxor or one of those hotels, casinos. They got another shopping mall up there, and they got a Raider Image there. That's where I found this hat, and I have not seen it anywhere else. So if you guys want to get the blackout, just hit the shopping cart down below. We got the blackout, and then a whole bunch of different ones that you can choose from too. King says, after finishing last season strong, our team was one of the hottest teams coming into the season. What do you think went wrong that ruined the chemistry and everything good we had going? Great question. Easy answer. Two things happened. Gardner Minshew happened and injuries happened. Those are the two biggest things. And well, I'll say three things. So injuries, Gardner Minshew, and Luke Getsy. That's what happened to this team. Darth Emperor says, what makes Tom Brady an expert on picking coaches or evaluating quarterback talent? What makes him so good at it? He doesn't have to be good at it. Like I said, he's a draw, right? He's going to draw people there. When you got a guy like Tom Brady, everybody wants to be around Tom Brady. Everybody wants to be associated with a Tom Brady. And so when you got him sitting in the room, that's a good draw. When it was just Mark Davis sitting in the room with a couple of lower level guys, not a big draw. But what Tom Brady brings is championship rings, experience of winning, and stability. And that's the opposite of what we have with Mark Davis. And so I'm not saying that he's an expert in hiring a coach. No. But what he is, he's sitting in the room rocking his Super Bowl ring as the coach is interviewing. Because remember, a guy like Ben Johnson, he's going to have the pick of the litter. Ben Johnson's going to be able to pick his job where he wants to go and the contract size he wants to get. Just like Jim Harbaugh. So you've got to have a couple of things to get a Ben Johnson to come be your head coach. You've got to have a stable, winning ownership. And we have that now. Obviously, he's a minority owner, whatever. But he's still going to be sitting there at the table. And you've got to have a high draft pick so that this new offensive genius-minded coach gets to pick his franchise quarterback for the most part. And then, hopefully you get to go from there. Donald says, you are making a lot of assumptions. That's kind of what a podcast is. I don't know if you didn't see that, podcast next to Raider D. But if you look at any podcast on any subject, they're making a lot of assumptions. Kind of goes with the nature of having a podcast, my man. You don't think Ben Johnson's all that? Okay. I mean, they only got one of the hottest offenses in the NFL. And he will have the pick of whatever team he wants to go head coach next year, especially if they win a Super Bowl. And it is looking like they possibly could do that. John says, thoughts on Drew Aller of Penn State? Decent. I think he's probably going to be a second-round guy. That's it. We'll see if Drew even comes out. It's a good thing if he declares. We'll see if he even declares. Because he is still young. He may not. He may stay at Penn for at least another year. It's a pretty weak draft class right now, so in his best interest, his best chance of probably making the first round is to come out this year. Because there are some teams that need a quarterback, and it's a weak class and all that. So his best chance of making it into the first round probably is this year. So he probably will declare. Kevin Rourke, or Curtis Rourke, sorry. He's moved up my draft board as a possibility in the second round for the Raiders. But I think, it's a pretty clear difference that Cam Ward is the best quarterback in college football right now. Now, you could argue Dylan Gabriel probably is better. The problem is Dylan Gabriel's height is not better. you're going from 6'2" to 5'10" and a half, maybe 5'11". I know they got him listed as 6 foot, but that's a lie. That kid is not 6 feet tall. And so you have a problem of, and it's going to be, more come NFL where he can't see over the line. He's a Doug Flutie. He'll have some success because he is a good quarterback. He just doesn't have the size. I mean, unless they start letting him wear like 3-inch lifts in his shoes. King says, our defense is carried last season, and our defense is not playing the same, and injuries are part of the game, so it's next man up. If you suck, our team sucks at evaluating. I understand the premise of next man up. I do get that. That is not a true statement, though. If you look at teams, even good teams that get obliterated by injury bug throughout a season, they don't play well. Guys are second and third string for a reason. Remember last year on defense, all of our starters were healthy at the end of the year. And that's why they were playing really good. We lost Malcolm Koonce, and Malcolm Koonce was a big part of why we were playing so good. We lost him for the entire season this year before he even got to play. That was a big knock. And then Christian Wilkins goes down in week 4 or 5 with the broken foot. And Marcus Epps goes down. And Jacorian Bennett's down now. And Jack Jones was down last week. I mean, these are key parts. At Nate Hobbs down. These are very key parts. You can do without one, maybe two, but when you're talking about your starting nickel corner, your starting best cornerback in Jacorian Bennett, your other starter in Jack Jones, who's playing better, your starting defensive end in Malcolm Koonce, and your starting star defensive tackle in Christian Wilkins, that's 5 starters off of an 11-man, and Marcus Epps. Put Marcus Epps in there too. That's 6 starters out of 11. No team can come back from that. There's no next up mentality. These guys just got to play up. It just doesn't happen. You're on the second string for a reason. You can only have so many starters on your team because it costs a lot of money, right? And so I understand, and I don't blame the Raiders defense for not playing well in a lot of these games because our starters are gone. I think they could do better, but it's that's a tough thing to come back from when you have that many starters go down. Kevin says, I heard Mo mention the Tampa Bay offensive coordinator. You know anything about him? I don't. I haven't really looked into him. I know there's talk obviously with Kingsbury being the head coach. That would be a quick jump though from him going to, getting knocked down to college as a quarterback's coach with USC, getting back into the NFL as an OC, and then the very next year getting a head coaching job. I think that would just be way too fast for Kingsbury. So I know the rumor is out there. I helped spread it because I heard it, and I let you guys know this was the talk coming out of the Raiders that Kingsbury is a possible candidate to replace Antonio Pierce. But I don't think so. I think your main candidate is going to be Mike Vrabel, close connections to Tom Brady. I'm not really sure I like that idea. I don't see that big of a difference between Mike Vrabel and Antonio Pierce. Ben Johnson is going to be the hottest guy on the market. The OC from Houston also might be a hot ticket item out there. Some guys from college could definitely be up in the mix. I think at this point, anything could happen that Antonio Pierce gets fired, and we just realized that the whole problem was Antonio Pierce. And so we make it up to Luke Getsy, and we make Luke Getsy the head coach and offensive coordinator. What do you guys think about that idea? Luke Getsy for head coach of the Raiders. We could get him for cheap. He's out of a job. He knows the system. Luke Getsy, head coach. Nobody got an idea. Nobody want to comment on Luke Getsy as the Raiders head coach next year? All right, I'm just kidding, man. Of course we would never do that. Boy, Darnold Richardson is just dogging me out today, Darnold. Are you just upset because the Raiders are terrible right now and you want to take it out on a podcaster or something? I mean, I get it. Listen, man, I'm the same way. I'm not going to just believe anything that anybody tells me. But when it comes to the Raiders, as this channel has grown, I have made some contacts with the Raiders organization. And I get some information comes straight to my phone via text message from these sources. That's how I was able to break it to everybody that the deal was in fact done, and that Antonio or Davante Adams was on a plane to the Jets a full 1 day, 1 full day before even Ian Rappaport. How did I know that? Oh, gee, how did I know that? I must just be the luckiest guesser in the world. I don't know, man. But at the same time, listen, I'm going to be straight up because before I started this channel, just like in full disclosure, I called BS on some of these guys like Sanjeet and Mitchell Rentz, Graphic Raider, for having inside sources. Like, are you serious, dude? You're a dude on YouTube. You're a podcaster. What possible sources do you have with the Raiders? Well, you know what happened once I got over 2,000 subscribers, and now we're on our way to 11,000. You know what happened? People from the Raiders organization started reaching out, and I started reaching out to players and agents to try and get some on the channel. And we have had players on the channel, both current and former players, on this channel. And, even guys like Superfans, we've had on the channel. And the reception was very like, yeah, let's do it. It wasn't even like, yeah, who the hell are you? Get the hell out of here. No, it was like surprising. Like, I was shocked. I was shocked when Trey Taylor's agent was like, yeah, we would love to get Trey on your show. We think you got a great show going. Bro, I only had like 4,000 subscribers at the time. I was like, you're seriously going to come on my show? He's going to come on my show? He's like, yeah, I still talk to Trey Taylor. Great kid. Hope he gets a chance to really start playing. I mean, he's been dealing with his injury and stuff, right? And then I had, we got fortunate enough, we were gifted to be able to go down to Vegas, give away some tickets, thanks to Raider Ryan, big supporter of the channel. And we gave away some tickets. OC Raider and his pregnant wife won the tickets, so we met them out there in Vegas. Got to take them to a practice, which was super cool. Well, the crazy story is once our contacts with the Raiders found out that we were going to come down to the practice, they were like, no. We want you to come to the VIP section with us, to the friends and family section. Because we were just going to go sit with everybody else, just all the normal people. And, I had my little filming equipment and stuff. We were just going to film the practice and put some highlights up there and podcast from there. It was great. Our contact from the Raiders was like, no. We're going to get you VIP pass. So we literally, me and my wife, we got to go sit in the VIP pass. Absolutely phenomenal experience. Sitting there right next to Jack Jones's family. Talking to the players and stuff after the practice. Got to hang out with Dylan Lauby's dad for a minute, and Dylan Lauby and his mom and stuff like that. talking to the family members of the Raiders. So I came to the realization that, you know what? This platform is more important in a lot of different ways than the likes of ESPN, Fox Sports. Like, we watch those as fans to get the corporate outlook on our team, which is almost always superficial because they don't have time. They got to cover all 32 teams. They've got to cover hundreds of players. So they can't go deep in depth. And so everything that you're going to get from ESPN, Fox, CBS, ABC, all that stuff, all the corporate media, is going to be very superficial. And so people are relying on these podcasts because we go a lot deeper. We do deep dives into these players and draft picks and stats and all this stuff. And we make hour-long live streams of this stuff. And that's why people are gravitating towards this type of content. And these teams realize that. These agents realize that. And so as you start to get a following, as you start to get a lot of views, they start reaching out to you. And that's when it's just like, that blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind. And that's why I can't say, which I used to say, before I started my channel, oh, Mitchell Rent's talking about his source. He ain't got no source. Who is he? I mean, he only has 180,000 subscribers and does millions of views a month. Who is he? Right? I've had him on my show. We've talked about that because we had some beef over some stuff that he said about Aiden O'Connell in the locker room and a source, right? That's how me and him got to know each other. Graphic Raider has had players on his show. Sanjeet has had players on his show. He had Max Crosby on his show way back in the day when Max was still a rookie. So yeah, we do make connections when you put in the work that we put in as full-time content creators for the Las Vegas Raiders. It does happen. And I now have mine. Mine never let me go wrong. A perfect example is, and I've talked about this before, but when the Raiders were doing the cut down to the 53-man roster, I was on air doing a live stream. I literally had my phone in my hand and I was calling out the names of the guys who were having their lockers cleared out who would not make the 53-man roster. Way before the Raiders listed the official 53-man roster later that evening. How did I do that? My dude was in the locker room. One of my dudes. I have a couple of different sources with the Raiders. One of my dudes was in the locker room as players were having their lockers cleaned out. And basically getting the axe. Unfortunately, and this sucked. I hate that part of the game. So, I mean, I had to eat crow, man, because, guys like Mitch, I'm sure he's got his sources. And I'm sure Sanjeet's got his sources. I'm sure Graphics got his sources. And because I know all those dudes have bigger channels than mine. If I have sources, I'm sure they have sources. Donald's got to go, but hey, salute to you, my man. Darth Emperor says, how's that working out for Devontae? Well, it's not working out too well for him. It's not working out too well for him. Matthew says Wi-Fi got some table sauces. Yeah, but you know what? I don't watch Wi-Fi anymore. I used to back in the day. I'd never heard him say a source told him though. Like everything he just gets off of X, Twitter, Facebook, and he usually puts those sources up. So it's usually like Ian Rappaport or one of those dudes, Adam Schefter, whatever. So I will give him that. Like, I don't think he has any sources because he's never said he has any sources. Other than what he just finds on X and then makes a video about. So I don't bag on them for that. I don't bag on Wi-Fi for anything actually, other than wearing the Saints jersey. That's really been my only beef with him, and the fact that when I still had, I think like 1,200 subscribers, I was doing a live stream, and the dude came into my live stream and started just straight up trolling me, and you can see it literally goes back to his account, so it wasn't a fake account. Dude was straight up trolling me. Like, I don't know if he was drunk or what, but it was crazy. He was like, don't be talking about my girl and this and that. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't even know your girl's name. I don't talk about your girl. I don't know you. Why are you trolling me? So that people say, oh, you started the beef with him. I never started the beef with him. I never started the beef with Wi-Fi Willie. He started it with me. Straight up. And I just finished it by showing the Raider Nation him wearing a Saints jersey and exposing him for it. El Matic, what's going on? Salamu alaikum, my brother. Wa alaikum salam. The road to the number one pick. Yep. It's going to be a hard and lonely and terrible season to watch type of road to the number one pick. But at this point, the Raiders got to do something, man. We absolutely have to do something, because if we don't get a franchise quarterback, it's just going to be another year of absolute garbage Raiders football that nobody wants to watch because it's so hard to watch. And I don't want to go through that again. I know you guys don't want to go through that again because, it sucks. Got 108 people in here. How many likes we got on the live stream right now? Do we not have any likes on the live stream? That can't be right. I can't really see it. Oh, we got 17 likes. Got 108 people in here. Hit the three little dots up above. Right up. No, it's going to be over here. It's going to be over here. The three little dots up above. And open up the panel and like the live stream for me. Jay says Wi-Fi isn't watchable for most people over 25. He's a mental midget. I don't know, man. You know what? Maybe he's like a really chill dude in real life. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is I didn't start the beef with him. He started it. And I don't even care about it. To be honest, I don't even care about it. I don't watch his show. Whatever is whatever with him. Matthew says, I got you. Check mark. Check mark. That was like a terrible check mark. Like check, check, check. CBS Mock Draft says Young DB94. CBS Mock Draft has us trading up to the number one with the Jags and taking Cam Ward. Okay. That's if that's if the draft were to take place tomorrow. If the Raiders lose out, we don't have to trade with the Jags because that means the Jags beat us. Remember, we play them, was it second to last week? Or we play them next week after KC, I think. Oh, let me look at the schedule again. Schedule. So the schedule says that we play Tampa Bay after KC. So we're going to probably get whooped by KC. Probably going to get whooped by Tampa Bay. Probably going to get whooped by Atlanta. And then we play the Jacksonville Jaguars, then the Saints, and then the Chargers, who's going to whoop us. So out of all those games, we have a possibility of beating Jacksonville because they're really bad. And we have a possibility of beating the Saints because they're not that much better. So we might win 2 more games. Should make us 4-13 on the season. And that would probably still keep us in the top 5. So if that were the case, Jags lost out, then yeah, we would trade up. But if we lose out, then we end up with at least the number 2 pick behind the New York Giants, and they're not going to trade out. Gotta hope the Giants win a game. They need a quarterback. They just got rid of Daniel Jones. They need a quarterback. So I'm pretty sure that they are going to do whatever they can to make sure that they do not win another game so that they end up with that number 1 overall draft pick and draft Cam Ward. Because if you look at it, this past Saturday, out of all of the quarterbacks, Cam Ward looks the most NFL ready in my opinion. Where are you guys checking in from? I know we got a bunch of new people in here. Drop your check-in. Where you at? You in Cali? You in New York? You down south? You across the country? Check in, guys. Let me know where you checking in from. And how do you guys feel? How would you feel if Daniel Jones gets signed to the Raiders today? Because with Gardner Minshew being out for the season, and Antonio Pierce certainly didn't rule it out in his presser, there's a real possibility. Now, I would have said if Gardner Minshew doesn't get hurt yesterday, there's no chance the Raiders go and grab Daniel Jones. Now that he's out, I don't know, man. There is a big possibility that the Raiders end up with Daniel Jones. Just Raiders Baby says, salute, brother. Salute to you. Thank you so much for being here and the support of the Raider D podcast. As always, we got Jeremy in here from Virginia checking in. Elmatic Nola. I don't know what Nola is, brother. Raider High with the big $10 super chat. Salute, Raider High, my man. Always supporting the Raider podcast. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, my man. He says after Laube returned that kickoff, he should have gotten a few touches. I agree with that. I was really happy to see Sincere McCormick get a shot. I mean, the kid has been on practice squad for 3 years. He's never really gotten a shot. So to see him be able to get some touches was really good. But yeah, I think Dylan Laube, you got to incorporate that kid because why wait? Why wait? Let's see what Dylan Laube is, right? Because athletically speaking, the kid's something. But as an NFL running back, I don't know. So I want to see what he is. And I would love to see him get some more touches against the Chiefs, for sure. And definitely, let him keep doing those kick returns because that was pretty cool. And he was so pumped up. He was so excited. It was so much fun to see. And again, I got to meet him. I got to meet his dad. I got to meet his mom. Just all three of them. Great people. Really, there's his dad looks like he could be an NFL coach. He looks like he could play in the NFL. His dad's a yoked dude. And maybe there's some TRT going on there. I don't know. Because he's probably 50-ish, in his 50s. But that dude's got some yoke on him. So it was fun to meet him, meet his mom, meet him. And I want to see him get an opportunity and see what he can do. Because I think athletically, Dylan Laube he's going to be something. We just don't know yet because he isn't getting the chance. And it really because he got the chance and he had the big fumble. I get it. It happens. It sucks that it happens so early in your career and then you get benched for it. I think that they should have put him back out there after the big fumble. Put him back out there. Get his confidence back up. And then I agree with you, Raider High, that he should have gotten some touches after that big return because he was juiced. Go with the hot hand. That's what Antonio Pierce keeps saying. Go with the hot hand. But he never does. He doesn't go with the hot hand. It's so aggravating. You'll see Alexander Mattison in games getting hot, breaking off 10-yard runs, and then he'll pull him out and put Zamir White in. I don't get it. Oh, Elmatic is from New Orleans, Louisiana. The Bayou. Sweet, man. John S. says, I don't have a problem with adding Jones as competition for QB. What do we have to lose besides draft position? Never thought Giants surrounded him with good offensive line protection or great wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, you could make that argument for him. But if that's the argument for the Giants, then why bring him to the Raiders when we don't have good wide receivers either? I mean, we have Jacoby, but let's not get it twisted. Jacoby's not a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. He's probably one of the best wide receiver twos in the NFL, but not at your X receiver. So we don't have a true X receiver for the Raiders now. And you've seen what happened. And I said this once we sent Devontae Adams packing. Watch what defenses are going to do. They're going to zero in and cloud coverage our tight end, Brock Bowers, and that's exactly what they did. Exactly what they did yesterday. They were cloud coverage on Brock Bowers all day long. He only ended up with 4 receptions. Now, he could have had a couple more receptions, but the ball just was thrown out of his reach or whatever. It was bad passes. If you say, why wait, then let's give Carter Bradley an opportunity to play. I don't see why, though. For what? Carter Bradley's not good. Aiden O'Connell and Desmond Ridder are by far better than Carter Bradley. By far. It's not even close. I have zero faith that Carter Bradley will ever even make a team outside of a practice squad. I just don't see it. I mean, I would rather just go with Desmond Ridder for this week. Make sure that Aiden O'Connell's hand is secure and healed up all the way, and then let AOC finish out the season like he did last year. John S. T. Higgins in free agency. Yep, I made a video about it. I am with that all day long. He's going to want $30 million a year. I think he's worth it because he is a true X wide receiver, and it will open things up for the Raiders. Now, in a dream scenario, the Raiders go and get Tatarioa McMillan and somehow Cam Ward in the same draft. Then we have our X receiver and we have our franchise quarterback. You know, you could do something crazy. The Raiders could do something. What if the Raiders don't believe in any of the quarterbacks coming out of college right now? What if Tom Telesco's looking at this QB draft class, which is pretty weak, and he's like, Arch Manning next year? Maybe another year of Jalen Milroe in college. Maybe him. Maybe some of these other, younger quarterbacks that'll be eligible in 2026. What if we just go and get Tatarioa McMillan or Travis Hunter with our draft pick, or Abdul Carter, defensive end out of Penn State? And then what if the Raiders did just say, you know what? We're gonna do something crazy. We're gonna go ahead and sign Danny Dimes Jones, and we're gonna make him our franchise quarterback because he was a former sixth overall draft pick, and then we're just gonna surround him with Territoria McMillan. And we're going to upgrade the defense. We're going to get Ollie Gordon II as a running back, or maybe one of these other running backs coming out of college, and some offensive line, and we're going to go from there. So there's always that possibility, but I do believe that most likely the Raiders are going to go with Shedeur Sanders. There is possibility of Cam Ward, but most likely it's going to be Shedeur. But we'll have to see what's going to happen when it comes draft time. That's, my favorite part of doing this podcast is when we get closer to the draft. And once we get our draft position solidified, and then we really know, like, okay, let's just start breaking it down. You know what I mean? I've already started. If you guys haven't seen, I did a video on Curtis Rourke. I've done a video on, I think I did my video on McMillan already. I do so many videos, sometimes I forget which ones. Abdul Carter, and a few others. And I'll continue to do more of these draft prospects and mock drafts for the Raiders and kind of do deep dives on the prospects. So guys, keep an eye out for that. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of them. And if you want to get a hat like mine or one of the other ones, again, just go and right there's the shopping cart. We got all the hats in there. They are NFL licensed and official. Go and check them out. Great deals. They're only like $35. Mine was $75 in Vegas, so save yourself some money and go and hook that up. Also, we get a nice little kickback for that, so you are helping out the Raider D podcast by picking up all your Raiders gear there. And then I'll also post more Raiders gear, jerseys, etc. With this new deal that we have for the channel. Until next time, guys, you know how we end these. I got to run, but love the Raiders. Love y'all. Let's go, Raiders. Raiders just win, baby.